Hello, thank you all for being here. My name is Karis Ryu, and I am an undergraduate fellow studying history and East Asian studies. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be part of the Cogut Institute this year, and for the support of the cohort and the Institute in conducting my senior honors thesis in history. My thesis is called A New Park, A Lost Town, Defining the Legacy of U.S. Army Garrison Yongsan. Yongsan Garrison is the oldest U.S. Army installation in South Korea, with the U.S. military coming into the territory that was once occupied by the Japanese colonial government following World War II. It is a significant symbol for South Korean citizens and American military affiliated residents alike, and imbued with multiple complex meanings and legacies of cooperation and of pain. Negotiations have been conducted over the past 20 years to return the garrison land to the South Korean government, which will form from it a Korean national park. In 2019, an accelerated return process of Yongsan Garrison was greenlit to begin. To provide personal context, my father is a U.S. Army chaplain, and both my parents are first-generation Korean immigrants to the United States. I grew up as an amalgamation of Korean American and U.S. Army brat experiences, and one of the many moves we made as a family was to the U.S. Army garrisons in South Korea. As a graduate of Seoul American High School on Yongsan Garrison, who lived on the base from 2016 to 2017, I am personally invested in making this complex history known. I currently structure my work through two particular threads of thought. First, I take the thesis through Korean perspectives on Yongsan Park formation as a way to revive and restore Korean culture, then perspectives of Yongsan Garrison residents who mourn the loss of what has come to be their home, and then current projects and methods that are being conducted to promote coexistence and mutual understanding. The second thread takes the discussion from physical to virtual planes. Amidst ongoing debates about how to properly use and commemorate the physical land of the base, proposals for virtual archives have arisen as viable ways to preserve people's memories. I rely on a diverse range of primary and secondary sources to make this argument. In particular, I am excited to analyze pieces of a large 800-plus photo archive put together by former students of Seoul American High School from the 1970s and 1980s, and the integrative virtual memory archive called the Yongsan Legacy Project, which is being contributed to by Korean and American perspectives alike. So I would like to take a moment and just share a few of the photos that I will be using for my thesis. So the one on the left is of the Yongsan Garrison Teen Club during the 1970s, taken by a prolific student photographer named George May. And on the outside, these are Quonset huts, which are military structures. But on the inside, this is where teenagers would spend their afternoons and their weekends. There would be a jazz club in there, and there were formative memories being made. And then on the right, this is the Seoul American High School junior class in 1979 doing their powder puff football game, which is when female students would play football and their male classmates would then cheer and take on cheerleading uniforms. And this was happening on the football field by the high school on the base. And this is the cover page of yongsanlegacy.org, which you can look up online if you're interested. And it's designed to be a virtual memorial that spans the spectrum of GIs and civilians and all of their experiences that are affiliated with this place. So ultimately, my project desires to illuminate the complex past of Yongsan Garrison, explore the actions of multiple parties throughout the transferal process, and argue for future actions that can be taken to encourage compassionate education and harmony. Thank you for listening.